All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Becky Kinney, and I am the English and Fine Arts Division Head at Wheeling High School. And as the English and Fine Arts Division Head, one of the great things I get to do is oversee our multimedia pathway at Wheeling High School. There is one of me at each school, and so there are six division heads, and we all get to work with this pathway and the amazing teachers and students that do that work every single day. So, I'm going to talk about the pathway in a moment, but before we jump into that, I want to let each of our panelists introduce themselves. If you all could just share your name and your role in the organization which you are affiliated with. Uh, Mr. Block, would you like to begin?
Absolutely. All right. My name's Jason Block. I am a teacher at Prospect High School. I run the multimedia program, which we call Night Media here. I've been here for about 21 years now. And we have a newspaper, a TV station, a podcast channel, and a website. So the students really get a true multimedia experience.
My name's Kenny Mineo. I do an apprenticeship with D214, and I work with School District 21. I'm also the executive producer of Night TV here for Night Media, and I'm the lead announcer for Night TV Live, which is another thing that we offer.
Cassidy, you want to jump in next?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, my name is Cassidy Schmidt. I am the social media coordinator for Shed Aquarium Chicago, and I am a John Hersey High School alum.
Wonderful. And Kendall, you can round us out.
Yeah, hi, my name is Kendall Polidori. I'm a music journalist based in Chicago, and I am currently the managing editor for a small publication called Luckbox magazine. And I am a mentor to a couple of Rolling Meadows high school students.
Wonderful. So I just want to start out thanking the four of you for being with us tonight and taking time out of your schedule to chat with us about your experiences and your love of all things multimedia and journalism. So thank you so much for that. Before we go around for our first question for the panelists, I do want to just take a moment, since we have many parents and maybe some students on this call, to share a little bit about our multimedia pathway and what that looks like at District 214. All right, so if you look at the screen now, you can see the four-year course sequence for the multimedia pathway. On the bottom in the gray section is graduation requirements that all students have to take. And on the top in the red is the multimedia pathway, and it is highlighted each year what a student would take. Now, if you are already a sophomore and you're looking to start this multimedia pathway as a junior, that's fine. You don't have to think, oh, I missed grade 9, I missed grade 10. You can start on those first year courses, the Introduction to Multimedia Communications and Advanced Multimedia Communications at any point. So this pathway is an easy entrance. It has easy entrances. It has easy exits. If you are doing it and you feel like, no, this isn't the right pathway for me, there's a lot of great experience, a lot of great courses, and it can be a four-year experience for students, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a four-year experience for students. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each year. The first year of the pathway is Introduction to Multimedia Communications and Advanced Multimedia Communications. And again, students can take that as an elective during their freshman year, but they could take it also during their 10th, 11th, or 12th grade years. Once they finish the communications courses, the next course in sequence is multimedia production and advanced multimedia production. And then it moves to multimedia storytelling and advanced multimedia storytelling. And if students get to the end of this pathway, there's a couple of different ways they could spend their fourth year. And sometimes actually where we allow students to be able to fast track into that fourth year. If they really are, maybe they only got to join this pathway when they were a junior and they really want to have a capstone experience, there's ways we can get them into some of those capstone experiences their senior year. So don't think, oh, I missed it my freshman year, I'm never going to be able to get there. You can talk with your counselor and we can get you there too. So the in-building experiences are the two on the top, multimedia practicum and advanced multimedia practicum. And then the two courses on the bottom are more of our capstone experiences, and they even come with some college credit. So the College Intro to Mass Communications and Multimedia Academy. The College Intro to Mass Communications, we have a partnership. Where students can earn college credit for that. And then the Multimedia Academy is a little bit more of a hands-on internship type experience that is supervised by that same College Intro to Mass Communications teacher. When we've taught those courses in the past, they've been more of district-wide courses. We haven't had enough students to run those at each respective homeschool, but there has been ways in the past that we've been able to plug students into those courses as a district-wide experience. So course registration is coming up right around the corner for our students. So we're doing this at the perfect time. And hopefully today you can get a little bit more of an idea about these different courses and what we offer at District 214 to prepare you for a career in any field related to multimedia, and also just some more information about what actually a career in a multimedia field looks like and feels like, and if that's a good fit for you. Okay, so I'm going to stop. Oh, one more thing before I stop screen sharing. Um, on this is where you can find this information about the pathway in the academic programs and pathways guidebook. All the pathways are outlined, including the pathway that I just spoke about. So you can access that on the District 214 website. And if there's a different pathway you're also interested in learning more about, it has this similar layout, what I just showed you, for all the different pathways we offer. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing now and get our panelists back up. I'd love us to start with, can you each just describe a little bit about your background, focusing specifically on your educational and professional experiences? And for those of you, I know we have one student with us, but for those of you who have advanced degrees, can you share a little bit about your college preparation? What was your undergraduate degree, and then what your early years or your career experience has been thus far?
Cassidy and Kendall. Yeah. All right. So again, my name is Jason Block and I teach at Prospect. My background, I actually graduated from Hersey High School as well. Hey, Cassidy. I went to University of Illinois and I was a news editorial journalism major, a major that no longer exists because they no longer specialize in if you're a print journalist or if you're a broadcast journalist, which is exactly why the multimedia pathway exists as it is we now are trying to prepare students for the career that actually exists now, that awaits them now. So I got that degree. I was a professional journalist for about 5 years before I went back to school at National Louis to get my teaching degree and my master's in teaching. And I've been doing this ever since. And yeah, so we at Prospect, we do the pathway the exact way that it was described by Becky, where the kids come in and they are a variety of ages taking that intro class. So don't feel like because your child doesn't take it as a freshman that they're out in the cold. We have juniors and seniors who also take that intro level class.
Yeah, so I'm of course still in high school, but this is my third year in the night media program, and I am one of those cases. I started the intro class as a sophomore, and there's opportunities everywhere if you want to get involved. I was involved as a sophomore in the intro class. I was announcing football games, announcing basketball games, and live stream, and really involved with podcasts and everything. And now with my second year officially on staff and third year, I'm now trying to get people like that involved. And yeah, freshman, sophomore, junior, doesn't matter. Even as a senior, and you might not necessarily move on in the classes, you can still get involved, go to a football game, get on the sideline, take photos. There's a lot of opportunities regardless of what grade you're in.
I could go next. I graduated from Streamwood High School, so not in the district, but very close by. And while I was in high school, I participated in the Student News Network. And then I went off to do my undergrad at Grand Valley State University. I did a year and a half there, where I studied multimedia journalism and ended up transferring to Columbia College Chicago, where I graduated with a degree in journalism with a focus in news and features. And I also earned a minor in photography. And since then, I was involved a lot with the student newspaper, different publications, online music pubs. I did a lot of music photography while in college. And after I graduated, I started working full time for the magazine that I interned for during my senior year, and I've been with them ever since. So it's been about 3.5 years. And I've been, doing music journalism and photography, and I've been the managing editor for our publication. And I just recently went back to school. I'm in a graduate program at DePaul University in a writing and publishing program with the hope of teaching one day.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Um, as I said, I graduated from Hersey High School. When I was at Hersey, the pathways weren't exactly a thing yet. I think they were starting to become a thing. But I did take what it was called when I was there was media technology. I don't know what it's called now, but that's what I took. And I took a lot of classes with Mr. Hatfield over there, who I know is still over there. He's phenomenal. So if you're not in any of his classes and you're interested in this pathway, definitely join some of his classes. So I did that throughout high school. And then when I graduated, I did take a summer internship with High School District 214. So I was working in their community engagement and outreach office, doing a lot of photography, videography, video editing, and a little bit of social media towards the end. And because I was deciding to stay local, I went to Harper Community College for my associate's degree. I was hired as a part-time employee at High School District 214, so I worked there while I was getting my degree at Harper, and then I got my bachelor's degree at Northeastern Illinois University. My degree is in communications and media, and my minor is in journalism. And I still continued to work part-time at District 214 while I was getting that degree. And then once I graduated from college, I went ahead and I took a job as a marketing coordinator, which at Palatine Park District, which not only was social media, but it was also web updates and email marketing, as well as event photography and all that fun stuff until I got hired at Shed Aquarium in 2022. So I've been at Shed for a little over 2 years now.
That's great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I'm wondering if we can go back to Kendall and Cassidy for a moment, and if you could each spend a minute or two talking about what a typical day might look like in your world for some of our students and parents on here who don't have a lot of experience or knowledge about what a job in multimedia might look like.
Sure, I can go ahead. I work a 9 to 5. So my day to day, hybrid, which is lovely. I either work from home or work in the office. It's very flexible. But my primary role at my job is an editor. And so on a day to day, I read and edit, I would say about 5 to 7 stories, and publish those on our website. And by edit, I mean copy editing, fact checking, all that jazz. And then I'm also a writer. And so the music writing that I do at my job, I write about 2 to 3 stories a week. And so that always kind of depends. Whether sometimes I'm interviewing somebody, and so that'll take up part of my day. Other times I'm reviewing an album, and so I listen to a whole lot of music and write about the music. And then other times I'm attending live shows, and so those obviously happen outside of office hours. And so on some days after work, I'll go to a concert, and I do concert photography, and then write a review of the live show. So every day's a little bit different, but I'm typically within that 9 to 5 schedule.
All right. So, as a student in our program, what your day to day life? I don't think the people at home really care what my life is as a teacher in the program. Students in our program, as kind of can attest to, is they really do choose their own kind of path when it comes to what they're working on in a given day. Sure, we teach them the foundational skills in that intro to multimedia comm course. We teach them interviewing and reporting and lead writing and finding an angle and editing and all of that stuff. But once they get past the intro class, then it really is time to create stories that they are passionate about. They pick their topic, they brainstorm it, they work in teams collaboratively on it, and they go through editing and finalizing. That's actually why we're both at school tonight. Is we're in the podcast studio, and just outside that door, the kids are putting the finishing touches on this month's newspaper and this month's episode of Night TV. So they really do. It's a student run program where the kids get to pursue what they're passionate about.
Yeah, so my day with multimedia looks a little bit different than the normal student in it. With my apprenticeship, I spend my first 2 periods of the day at work, and then I come over to Prospect and I have my media class. And yeah, like Mr. Block said, you have that ability to do a story on whatever you like, whatever interests you, on whatever medium you want. You can pick broadcast, podcast, print, run it online. You can work the live broadcast. You really can do whatever you want. And, I know that's not just a Prospect. All throughout the district, you have the freedom to do what you want. You can even do social media, whatever you get,
whatever you
tell
want. Them that, like what Kenny's working on right now. Tell them the story that you just finished this week.
I just did a story on one of our lead athletes. His name's Ben Schneider. He tore his MCL at the start of the basketball season last year, and it's a big anticipation for him to play again this year. He's one of the higher ranked players in the state, so a lot of anticipation behind that. And I just decided that was what I wanted to do. I love sports. I always want to be with sports. I'm good buddies with him, so it was a nice opportunity for me to do a story where I know I'm going to enjoy it and I'm not forced to do it. Like you're reading a book in English class, you're forced to read a book you don't want to read.
Sorry, Becky.
Hey now.
I knew that would.
Yeah, so then my day to day, it's normally a 9 to 5, but normally is a stretch. Technically it's a 9 to 5. I also work a hybrid schedule. I'm normally in 2 to 3 days a week in the office down at Shedd Aquarium, and then home 2 to 3 days. I say it's not necessarily a 9 to 5 because a lot of my job consists of filming. A lot of the time I'm filming animals, filming aquarists, filming different people who work at Shed, talking about the animals, and it's easiest to do that when the aquarium is not open to the public. It's quieter, there's not other people walking around in the shot. Sometimes we're taking animals out of their habitats and literally putting them on the floor, and it's safer for the animals, safer for the guests if we just do that when people aren't around. So just gives us more freedom. So a lot of times I get to the aquarium as early as 8 o'clock. Tomorrow I actually have to be down there at 7:45 to put on waders and get in a habitat with these 8 foot long fish called arapaima in our newly renovated Amazon Rising habitat to film some reels and TikToks for our channels. So technically my day usually starts around 8. It's a lot of filming. It's a lot of meeting with other teams around the aquarium to learn about updates on animals. It's also a lot of writing because not only do I produce most of the content for our channels, but I also write all the captions. And because we are a science-based organization, it's a lot of researching and making sure that my facts are correct. We are an AZA, Association of Zoos and Aquariums accredited aquarium. So we want to make sure that all of our facts are right and that we're educating people correctly. So a lot of my day is also reading and researching and writing and connecting with other teams to make sure that I have a certain species of fish right that I want to talk about. So yeah, that's normally my day.
What's interesting, Cassidy, is I am assuming with all the different roles you had, your day looks very, very different in each role. You weren't probably researching fish in your park district job. So I think that's something that's interesting about multimedia as I've listened to each of you talk about your specific roles, is that it really can look very different depending on what job you're doing, what medium you're working with, and for some of our students, that may be really appealing to them. Okay, let's talk a little bit. If we could talk about some of the specific courses or experiences that students can have in District 214. So maybe we'll start with Kenny and Jason, and then Kendall and Cassidy, if you want to share any of your insights on, I know Kendall mentioned mentoring, and Cassidy, you were a student in as well. But if Kenny and Jason, if you could talk a little bit about what does the coursework look like, and what are some of the great experiences that come with this pathway?
All right, I could start with the coursework. The coursework really is in the like I said in the introductory class, it is much more teacher focused because they need to learn those basic skills. So they're going to be the traditional like, okay, we're going to practice this skill. So you're going to go out and shoot some pictures, and we'll be able to talk about rule of thirds and lighting and all of those things and teaching those foundational skills. But then the coursework really does become we're basically on a monthly kind of production cycle where the students will pitch an idea, they will get it, they'll collaborate and say which are our best ideas, what are we going to roll with, then they're going to brainstorm it, they're going to go on report it, they're going to come up with a rough draft of it, collaborate again with their editors, revise it and finalize it so that it could go out to the world. And that's the really cool part that I think has been alluded to a lot, but I'll come around and say is that it's the one class that they'll take in high school where they will have an authentic audience. Their material goes out to people. We publish over YouTube. We are on Spotify. We're on obviously our newspaper gets printed and gets distributed in the community and within the school. So they do have that real world audience, which makes it so much more authentic.
Yeah, I'll start by talking about that audience.
Yeah.
I mean, so my dream growing up was sportscasting, and I've been able to live out that dream covering high school sports, announcing just about every home game we have. And, members from the community will see me and, talk to me about the game, or I'll get texts from people. Mr. Block gets texts, and it's a good feeling knowing that people are actually seeing your work. And like, you look on our YouTube, we get a couple hundred views here, 100 views here on online. We get thousands of views on things. The paper goes out, like he said, to the school and throughout the community. So it's a special feeling knowing that people see your work, and at a young age in high school, it's, I think, a really big deal that you can make a lasting impression on the school. There's articles of the Prospector up on our wall by the Commons that have been there. They're articles from 30, 40 years ago. And, just to kind of be engraved in school's history, and old articles are all around our room. I think it's like Mr. Block said, the only way you can really have an authentic audience to become part of your school.
And then when it comes to those opportunities, is at least in our program, is we get out into the real world. We're leaving 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we're going to Philadelphia for the National Journalism Convention, where there'll be about 5,000 high school journalists from around the country, and our students will get to go to see a keynote speaker, go to breakout sessions, compete in national competitions. And then we don't go on field trips that are little easier than that. So they like to say College of DuPage or things like a little more local. And state competition. There is an IHSA journalism competition, believe it or not. We are a competitive sport. And then we do have guest speakers, and we go to Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism for a field trip. So we do try to get them out of the classroom as much as is feasible and as much as we could possibly fit in.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit more about the field trips. It's a blast. I mean, went to Boston last year and just being able to walk around the city. And then like for state, last year I went and I competed in broadcast journalism, and it's just really fun. I mean, you are a true reporter. We went to a news conference on canine dogs, and it was just so eye-opening. It was nice to be able to actually, reproduce a story in 3 or 4 hours. We were on a real timeline and a real deadline, and it was nice because I already knew I wanted to go in this field, but it was kind of reaffirming for me, knowing like, hey, like you're gonna be under pressure, and it doesn't always have to be under pressure. If you're doing your work in class, which some people don't do, you will hit your deadlines and you're fine. But if you want the extra pressure and the extra, real life feel, it's definitely there for you.
And it does give kids the rare opportunity to compete in something that they don't normally get to compete in. They get to compete in their sports from the age of like 5 years old. they've never gotten to compete when it comes to their broadcasting skills or communication skills, their writing skills or photography skills. They go to a state competition or a national competition and get recognized for this talent that they have that really kind of is is pretty much beneath the surface all through school, where only the teacher knows it. Wow, you're a great writer. You're an amazing communicator. Nobody knows it. These programs give kids that opportunity for recognition and visibility.
I'll jump in here. It's so great to hear the opportunities that are offered through D214. I was not in the district, and so I didn't have as many opportunities through the high school that I went to. So I think it's really cool to hear about all the opportunities that you all have. It's great to hear too that you're going to the conference, the Journalism Education Association conference. I just recently received a scholarship from them this year. So they're a wonderful organization. Um, as for me, because I participated in what I could in high school, but a lot of what I did was in college because I didn't have those opportunities readily available to me in high school. But echoing what they already said, I participated greatly in the student newspaper at my college, and that kind of shaped my entire experience and really got me trying all different types of reporting, video and photography and audio, and really just putting myself out there and trying. And it really helped me understand what my passion was in media. And what my strengths were, and also just provided an opportunity in a space where like it was okay to try new things and make mistakes and have people who were there to help me build off of those mistakes. And so yeah, I think it's always good to just get involved as much as you can. And I think a huge thing part of this field and industry is networking and seeking out those people that you admire and that you want to learn from. In my experience, I've cold emailed so many people, and they've all been just so wonderful and willing to get coffee with me or jump on a Zoom call. And those are relationships that I still have today. And so I think that's a really vital thing is like, don't be afraid to just like reach out to people that you admire or that you want to learn from. Because those are typically going to be people that you can lean on and go to throughout your career.
Yeah, I'd kind of echo a similar to Kendall. I mean, like I said, the pathways were not completely fleshed out when I was going to school. I graduated in 2016 from Hersey. So they were just kind of starting to get their standings. But I did get a lot of intro to it when I was working for High School District 214. I was actually helping to produce a lot of the video content talking about the career pathway. So I feel like I learned a decent amount about them in that process from the other side. But when I was at Hersey, I'd say, like I said, I took the media tech classes, which sound like they're even more advanced now as part of this program. When I was there, it was mainly just video production and announcements. I mean, it was great. I feel like I really found what I was interested in with those classes. For a long time, I thought that I wanted to do sound design, but then I really got into the video side of it and the editing side of it and the storyboarding side of it, and found that that's really what I love to do, especially that videography and video editing side. That was really big for me. So if this is something you're interested in and you like those introductory classes, I definitely say keep on with those. And the internship obviously helped me a lot, especially because when I was going to interview for jobs, a lot of the time it's very difficult because as a new student, you don't have a lot of that experience. But if you have an internship, you can say that you have that experience. And like Kenny said, you have your name on things. I also wrote for my college paper at Northeastern Illinois. I didn't know that journalism was something that I was really interested in when I was in high school. I took, I think, one journalism class when I was in high school. But then I minored in journalism at Northeastern, so I started writing for their paper and really enjoyed it. So definitely get involved with a paper if there is one. Again, that was something that I could put on my resume that I had, pieces in a paper, people could read them. They were archived. Same thing with all of my work that I did for High School District 214. I had spots that, aired on the news. I had pieces that I had written that also got put in Daily Herald and stuff like that. So those internships are really, I think, what gets you the furthest is being able to put those things in your portfolio and have things with your name on it. And especially going into that workforce is really that experience that you have. And like Kendall said, the networking is huge as well. All of those internships are really going to start to build your network. And that's what you can lean on when you're needing references or when you're trying to first start out in the field. So yeah.
That's great. And I can add that I know we started out highlighting a lot of coursework experiences that are involved in the multimedia pathway. But at each school, at each respective high school in our district, there are also different extracurricular or enrichment activities or experiences that students can look for too. So two that quickly come to mind. Most schools have some sort of broadcasting club after school. So at Wheeling, it's called WCAT TV, and so they do our after school broadcasting. And I know that Jason and Kenny have mentioned that as well at Prospect. So that's something that you can be a part of even before you sign up for a class. You can kind of go to some meetings and kind of feel out if that's something that you would be interested in. And then oftentimes during the summer, there are summer school courses that students can take, and we've offered a multimedia summer school course too. And it's not the full 3 week summer school. It's like a 1 week program that students go to for 4 mornings a week. And they kind of get their feet wet and feel what it feels like, and get some very basic level experience. So even if you for some reason don't have time to get a full multimedia course in your schedule, there are some different ways that you can engage as well, and get plugged into the multimedia pathway. Since we're kind of talking about different experiences, I'd love to go back to Kenny and just, Kenny, could you talk to us a little bit about your internship? How did you get it? What do you do? How's it going for you? Just give us a 1 or 2 minute summary of what that experience has been like for you.
Yeah, so I think I had 3 or 4 interviews for it. So it's competitive. It's they pick one multimedia student from the district. And over the summer, I was able to work more. I was going in, pretty much 8 to 4, 8 to 3 every day, which, I loved. I edited videos, I did photography, I wrote stories. You really do anything multimedia, which is fun. And I interacted with the students and teachers. And it's nice because you see, a part of the community, at least for me, the school district I work for is in Wheeling, and I go to Prospect. So I see a part of the community I don't often see, and I meet new people, and I, learn new stories, which is what media is all about, learning and telling stories. And I'm glad that I'm able to tell stories. And for this particular apprenticeship, my boss, Cassandra Young, she has been very helpful and flexible with my schedule. And, if there's something I want to do, she lets me do it, which is amazing because, taking photos in a classroom gets a little old sometimes, and I want to do a story or do a video story. Right now, I'm working on a video for a piano that got donated for us, and so I just started that, doing interviews for that. Let's see, what else would I have been working on? I'm working on a crosswalk video for crosswalk safety that'll show in all the classrooms. Earlier at the start of the school year, I did a how to be a good secretary that they played at a refresher for our secretaries. So there's just a bunch of multimedia things that I'm doing, and I think it's going to really help me for my college applications, also as just a reference. And I've been building connections in anything multimedia. Particularly my boss's husband actually is a live producer. He produced Ellen for a couple of years, and he is having a big hand in live producing. So it's nice. And I'm building connections and meeting a lot of new people, learning stories and just getting experience, which after taking the multimedia course, you learned almost all you're going to need to learn. The rest you're going to learn through experience. The best way to improve your journalism skills is by actually doing it, which is what this apprenticeship lets me do.
That's great. Um, I would love to bounce to the question, what is your best advice to high school students who are interested in a career in this field? And this could be opened up to any of our panelists tonight.
I can jump in. I would say, I mean, I feel like we definitely did touch on it a little bit with the recommendations of, different courseworks, and talking about just getting involved in any way that you can, building that network, really just diving into what you're really interested in, and getting as much experience with it as you possibly can, taking on those internships and just really creating and writing and producing whatever you're interested in. I think it's just really just diving in and, if you can do those extracurriculars, that's great as well. I don't know if it's listed on there. I also did technical theater when I was at Hersey, which I thought was really helpful. Part of my degree is also theater. I didn't necessarily want to go into theater, but it definitely helped in the sense of like learning kind of like the sound side of things. Like I said, I was interested in sound, so got some experience on that side, got some experience with just like live production, because that's a lot of the times part of different courses when you're in this field as well, is that like live production communication, acting side of it. If that's a part that you're interested into, it's good to just kind of see how that side of everything runs. I'm not an actor, but I liked doing the behind the scenes stuff for sure. So that was something that I found really helpful. Also, I just got a lot of experience. I stage managed a couple shows. I technical directed a couple shows at Hersey. So it was just a great way to build upon other skills and learn all those fun things. So yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. I would, on top of that, suggest just like trying a whole bunch of new things. I think as high schoolers, it's really scary to think like, oh, I have to know exactly what I want to do and to have that pressure. And I think for most students, that's not the experience, right? It's like you're not sure what you want to do. And so you know, ever since I can remember, I knew I was interested in writing, but I wasn't sure what kind of writing. And so it took me a lot of like trying a lot of new things in a lot of different areas to really understand where that passion was. And like it's okay if you try something you don't actually like it. That's exciting because you're kind of pinpointing where you want to go. So yeah, I think my best advice is like just don't put too much pressure on yourself and try new things and see what piques your interest.
Yeah, I'd say for me, my best advice is if you decide that this is something you want to do, get experience. You might not always have that top job open for you. And, say you want to announce a football game, you might not be able to. Maybe you're going to do stats or work a camera or assist with production. Get involved any way you can because, one day the door's going to open up and they go, oh, you have been here. You work hard. We know you do. You can have that role. And just while working hard and showing up, you build connections. And like Cassidy said, that's really how you get into the professional field is those connections are huge.
Yep. And I think I'll put on my parent hat at the same time that I'm a teacher and a multimedia advisor is I love it for teenagers to be able to get a taste of what a college major is for free, right? Don't go out. If you could avoid it, don't go to college and make your first experience. I'm going to go major in journalism. I don't even know what journalism is. I've never taken a class in it. I've never done an